Hi, and welcome to the Video Club's Spotlight number 14. In these spotlights, we show the creative talent of one or more of our Video Club members. Today, we're going to see 3 films. I took the first one, and it was many years ago. In fact, there was no video then in 1961, and I took this film in 16 millimeter film, and then just a few years ago had it converted to video. This film shows a world championship sailboat race in San Diego. I lived down there then and took off work so I could get these shots.
In 1961, a dedicated and skillful group of amateur sportsmen arrived in San Diego, California. They came from Mexico, Canada, the Bahamas, and from many parts of the United States. They are here to compete in the Star Class World Championship contest. The Star is used primarily for racing. It is about 23 feet long, and whereas most sailboats this size use a centerboard, the Star has a keel with a 900-pound weight at the bottom. The Star carries only 2 sails, a mainsail and a jib. On the water, a starboat can be identified easily by the Star emblem on its sail, generally colored red. Racers are entitled to carry other colors if they have won national, international, or Olympic races. Standards have been set so that all competitors will be racing in similar boats. Race officials make certain each boat comes within the allowable Star Class tolerances for length, width, and contour. The mast height is specified. It is about 31.5 feet above the deck, and even if it's only a quarter of an inch too long, it cannot be used to race in world competition until it has been shortened. The sails must meet a strict test for size, but not for fullness. Expert Star skippers own a number of different cuts of sails and select the one most appropriate for the specific wind conditions. The Star boat is a particularly popular racing boat because it is very fast. It is small enough to be pulled in a trailer behind a car. Also, it's one of 5 sailboat classes which is represented in Olympic competition. The Star boat is one of the oldest active one-design class boats in the world. Its present hull design was fixed in 1911. There are about 5,000 Stars in the world. There are active fleets on all continents. It is sailed extensively in Italy, Portugal, Russia, Europe, Australia, Brazil, and Argentina. It is one of the most hotly contested classes in the United States. The world competition consists of 5 races which are held on 5 different days. The course is laid out according to the wind direction. The course is identified by 3 buoys or marks in the water: the leeward or downwind mark, the windward or upwind mark, and the reaching or side mark. The race starts between the leeward mark and the committee boat. All the boats start at the same pre-announced time. The first leg of the race is against the wind, toward the windward mark. This is called a beat against the wind. A sailboat cannot go directly against the wind and must tack back and forth. After rounding the windward mark, the boats head for the reaching mark. They jibe around the reaching mark and continue on a reach toward the leeward mark. After passing the leeward mark, the boats go on a second beat to the windward mark. The second time around the windward mark, the boats run directly downwind toward the leeward mark. The finish line is between the leeward mark and the committee boat. The length of the entire course is about 10 miles. One of the most important factors in racing is the manner in which the sail is adjusted or tuned for the particular wind conditions. The shape of the sail can be changed on a star by many different adjustments. In fact, the star has often been called the yachtsman's violin. It is so sensitive to trim and tune. The boat goes faster when it is more or less upright because the sail presents a better shape to the air and the hull presents a better shape to the water. The crew must hang far out on the windward side of the boat to keep it nearly upright. For winds above 10 knots, the weight of the crew becomes very important. The racer's next primary concern is to steer in such a way to take advantage of each wind shift. Also, he is continually concerned about letting someone get between him and the wind, which takes the wind out of his sails. This is the leeward mark. The boats are just starting their second beat. The boat on the right becomes wind shadowed by the two boats on the left, slows down, and has to tack out from under their wind shadow. Other things being equal, a skipper does not like to tack. Under average conditions, he loses about 1 boat length each time he does tack. There are 26 entries in the world competition this year. The competition is fierce. There is 1 previous Olympic medal winner and 2 previous world champions. Bill Buchan of Seattle, Washington has won 3 of the first 4 races. He has a commanding lead. Bill Buchan is 27 years old and has sailed stars for 13 years. His crew is Doug Knight. Doug had never sailed in his life until Buchan selected him a year ago. As the day begins for the 5th and last race, there is a certain tenseness in the air. It looks hopeless to knock Bill Buchan out of first place. Buchan has arrived early and is going over his boat carefully to make certain everything is in perfect condition. Then second place, Pete Bennett arrives. Bennett has lost 2 very close races to Buchan. Bill Twist on the right, who is 19 years old, holds 3rd place and arrives next. But the man most intent on beating Buchan and winning today is Lowell North, who stands in 4th place. North has won the world championship 3 different times. However, Buchan has been able to outrace North on the reaches during the first of these 4 races. This was a surprise to Buchan because North generally is unbeatable on a reach. North has decided to put on new sails and entirely retune his boat in a daring attempt to win the last race of the series. To win a race against this competition, not only must you be an expert sailor, have a good boat, and have good sails, but you cannot afford to make 1 mistake. As the starting time approaches, the racers maneuver for positions. The wind stiffens to 15 knots. The 5-minute gun sounds. Bill Buchan is looking for a fair start and is in the center of the line. North is on the far side. Knowles is the first boat across the line. North remains on a starboard tack, whereas Buchan comes about on a port tack. Buchan had not expected to be near the front, yet he's in the lead halfway through the first beat to the windward mark. At this point, Stearns appears to be second, and Bennett appears to be third. North is tacking to stay out of Stearns' wind shadow. After the windward mark, Buchan sails high to protect his lead, but gets in the wind shadow of a patrol boat, and North moves into first place. North is first by 20 seconds at the reaching mark. Buchan is second. Stearns is third, and Hahn is fourth. Buchan gains a little on North as they pass the leeward mark. The last beat will decide the winner. North must apply all his skill and racing experience in an effort to win. Buchan is pointed too tight into the wind and loses ground. North gets in too close to the spectator fleet and is slowed down by their wind shadow. As a result, Knowles and Hahn pass both North and Buchan. Buchan decides to keep a clear race and go for third place. North is trying to stay with Hahn. Knowles loses his first place position when he gets in too close to the wind shadow of the spectator fleet. Hahn and North are having a tacking duel. Buchan has to follow. This is the last beat and the closest and most exciting of the series. North and Hahn cross the windward mark together. Buchan is third by 3 boat lengths. On the run toward the finish, Hahn and North elect to go on a port tack, whereas Buchan thinks the wind favors a starboard tack. North sees that Buchan is gaining and jibes to a starboard tack, but it's too late. Buchan catches a wave and moves ahead. North tries to wind shadow Buchan and force him high. The duel is settled 400 yards from the finish. Buchan crosses the finish line here, 6 boat lengths ahead of North to win 4 out of the 5 races, one of the most spectacular displays of racing in the 40 years of the regatta. And so it goes, over and over, year after year, around the world, racers gain experience and skill in local competitions, and once each year, the best of these meet to determine their champion.
The next film is by Cheryl Martin. It's about one of her childhood dreams and how she was able to fulfill that dream. It's called My Inner Cowboy. She was lucky to be able to fulfill her dream.
One thing that my friends do not know about me is that I have an inner cowgirl living inside. It's been a well-kept secret. As a young girl, I watched a lot of TV westerns with my family. These programs ignited a fantasy of one day going to a dude ranch and riding on the open range, just like the cowboys in those movies. This is a little story about this childhood dream that took 60 years to be realized. When I was 4 years old, I got a cowgirl outfit for my birthday. This gift must have watered the seed of this dream. When I was 9, while waiting in the doctor's office, I picked up a Sunset magazine and saw ads for dude ranches. Taking a scratch paper, I copied down their addresses, then wrote away for brochures. After that, I remember running to the window every time I heard the mailman, hoping he was bringing me replies to my requests. When they arrived, I read them cover to cover and saved them in a shoebox that I kept under my bed. I'd pull them out from time to time, looking at the attractive pictures, and imagined a future day I would finally be able to go to a dude ranch. But life has a way of laying obstacles along your path to a goal. I certainly experienced many. My aging was seemingly the biggest one, although I still saw myself as a young woman. Recent illness and being realistic that I've had a lifelong spinal condition made this dream seem unrealistic. I questioned if even I had the ability to ride again. I was surely letting my age be my cage. Then I heard an old favorite song by Willie Nelson.
Don't be ashamed of your age. Don't let the years get you down.
Music has a way of speaking to the soul and lifting your spirits. After hearing that song, and with the encouragement of my sister, I came to the conclusion it was high time to stop ruminating. I realized my doubtful thoughts were preventing me from getting to that dude ranch and doing what I so longed to do. I told myself, I can do this. I could create this dream if I just believed it. I bet the world would never have been created if God doubted he could do it. And now, here I am, at the Hideout, a lovely 5-star resort working cattle ranch and guest lodge, located in Shell, Wyoming, just east of Yellowstone National Park. Wow, Wyoming, stunning views of mountains, being able to see 100 miles, horses that are hardy and kept in sweeping pastures, cattle grazing in expansive open fields, cowboys and cowgirls dressed in traditional garb. It was everything I hoped it would be. We had our own personal horses, were taught by wranglers how to herd cattle, rode into beautiful canyons, saw antelope, and just about the perfect Western experience. We met people from all over the world who together with us were living their own dream of experiencing an authentic dude ranch. Saying goodbye at the end of our week brought tears to our eyes, but the feelings were bittersweet. Although it was a departure of sorts, the tears were also joyful ones. My heart was full of gratitude and thanks that God saw fit for me to live out this dream. And the best of all is that I was able to do it together with my sister. This union of memories we share helps us to relive the fun.
Maybe you have a childhood memory you'd like to memorialize on video. If so, why don't you talk to us? Now, the next film I'm going to show you, I shot, and I also shot it on 16mm film and recently converted it to video. I was on a safari to East Africa, was on the Serengeti, and just happened to spend a day with a young scientist by the name of Tony Sinclair. He'd only been out there a year or two and was just getting started. So I took this little film of his research project that day, and he has now become, in the years interceding, the world-renowned expert in Cape buffalo and in the Serengeti. So sometimes you can get lucky.
What factors affect the survival of wild animals? What difference does it make to you if these animals survive or not? In order to save our remaining wild animals, scientists are studying their behavior, their diseases, and their eating habits. We need to learn how each species fits into the balance of nature, because when one species is gone, it affects the survival of others. One animal being studied is the Cape buffalo. The Cape buffalo can weigh a ton, as much as a car, yet they are very agile. Their horns are dangerous, and when they are wounded, they will attack men or lions. If you were a scientist, what methods would you use to study this dangerous animal? Let's join a research team studying the Cape buffalo in East Africa. This is Dr. Tony Sinclair, head of the team. We'll follow him on a trip into Cape Buffalo country and learn what methods he uses to study this animal.
On each side, then the people are holding against each other. And anybody working near the horns must stand right to one side at the back. The first thing and the most important thing of this operation is to put the collar on. This is because the idea is to follow the herd around and identify it by the marked animals with the collar on. They're very white and can be seen from the air by aircraft, which is a useful thing because the herds are so large you'd never pick out one or two marked animals from the ground. The other things we want to do are measure it, look at its teeth for aging, and take ticks off, collect blood, and take blood slides for looking at parasites.
The dart we use is made by Palmer's. It's a very efficient dart in that it's able to inject all the drug that we put in, so we know exactly how much goes in, and this is very important with this sort of operation. I had to go up yesterday in the plane to find this herd. It covers a potential 300 square miles, this herd's range, and could take us all day looking for it by vehicle. And in order to save time, we spot it from the air first. It's a big herd, ranging between 500 and 800 animals. There's the herd over there.
What I want to do today is to go in to this herd, cut it off from the river, and then drive right in amongst the animals and fire a dart into a female, and then we'll follow that one and immobilize it and mark it and release it.
At the moment we can't see very much because of all the dust. The female we got was the one with the broken horn. That's it. Now that's the female. I think you can probably see the dart as well. The female's coming under the dose, coming under the drug, and dropping back, going round in circles. Notice the gait's getting more laboured. M99 is an anaesthetic and can knock the animal out and puts it under general anaesthetic. Very humane drug for this sort of purpose. The back legs are getting very, very weak. She's staggering a bit, tripping over herself. Still very strong, though, these animals, and keeping going for a long time. The hind legs go first, and then it gradually sinks to the ground. When it's down, we give her a few more minutes so that she gets completely under the influence of the drug. We've got to take out that dart immediately. First thing we do. Then we'll get this collar on. I think she's been down long enough now.
I have to do it onto that.
First thing we'll do is go and put the collar on.
Onto that piece of chain, okay? You just stay there.
Somebody's got to hold on to one horn and hold the head down, sideways, turn sideways. And whoever puts the collar on must do it from the back. Otherwise it could quite easily get caught by the swing of the head. Even though they're immobilized, they can still swing their head and their horns around.
How long do you reckon it's going to stay on for?
I hope with these new improved joins. The best thing, of course, would be padlocks, but it's too expensive. Okay, how's that? Fine. Stand on there. You're not in the best position. Take over my position. Now, this is where she can kick. She can throw her head up, but she doesn't like it.
Then we'll take measurements, look at the teeth, and take blood from the ear veins. Most animals you can take blood from the jugular, but the skin of these animals is so thick that you can't even see where the jugular is, let alone penetrate the skin and get into it. So we have to take the blood out of the veins of the ear and take blood slides, collect ticks.
Breathing,
she
all right.
is breathing.
Oh, fine, yeah.
I just want to look at the teeth.
It's perfectly satisfactory anesthetic, general anesthetic. Mm-hmm. We put the animal onto its brisket so that it can regurgitate in normal ruminal movements. Teeth are about half worn. It's a medium-aged animal. Very big, about 1,200, 1,300 pounds.
I'm going to now inject this antidote for the M99. It knocks out the M99 and the animal wakes up again.
Should be about 7 minutes to get up.
This antidote works in about 7 minutes.
Some time ago. It's not fully aware of us yet. Just about 7 minutes now. Here we are.
The animal gets up and just walks away, still under the influence of the tranquilizer, which is also injected, acetylpromazine. And this goes on for several hours, but it's perfectly capable of walking and eating and drinking. So far, we haven't lost any animals marked.
For the next several weeks, Dr. Sinclair will observe the behavior of this female in the herd. Does she change herds? What does she eat? He will study her blood sample. What kinds of diseases does she carry? Scientists like Dr. Sinclair have the challenge of suggesting ways to save our wild animals. The actions of scientists, the governments, and the people of the world will determine which of our wild animals will survive.
That's all the video I wanted to show you today. If you're at all interested in getting involved in any part of the creation of videos, why don't you join the Laguna Woods Video Club? Well, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.